All right, this is Jason with the Primal Outdoors channel, and we just left our house here in Central Oregon, and we're headed to Utah. All right, so like I said, we're headed to Utah, but it's a 14-hour drive from where I live here in Central Oregon. So my goal today is just to put about 8 hours of driving in, which should put me somewhere on the far side of Twin Falls, Idaho. And then I'm going to just try to find some BLM or national forest to camp out on tonight. Now, a lot of this just depends on how I feel. I may continue to go on. I may go all the way into Utah today, but like I said, my main goal is actually just to put about 8 hours of driving in, and then that way it should put me 7 hours or so away from Bryce Canyon, Utah, which is where the final destination is that I'm going. So anyways, we'll just kind of play it by ear. Anyhow, any way we look at it, we've got a lot of driving to do through a lot of country, so we'll just get her done. All right, so we just stopped off on a BLM road to let the dogs out, took them for a little bit of a walk, and gave them some water and everything since we've been traveling for a little bit. But I tell you what, a rainstorm came in just as we were leaving and wetted down the BLM, and that mud just turned to grease. I wasn't sure we were going to get out of there, and I was a little concerned in a couple of spots that the truck was just going to slide off the slope. That mud cakes up the tires, and man, I tell you what, it is worse than the slickest ice you've ever been on. It's awful. All right, so we're going through Salt Lake City now, and it's starting to get fairly late, and so I'm thinking instead of boring you guys with any more drive footage at this point, we're just going to do a bit of a jump cut, so the next time you guys see me, I'm either going to be in my tent or at my camp. All right, so it's morning time. We're in the tent like I said it'd be. We're just parked on a BLM road. It was pretty dark by the time we got in here. In fact, it was like 11 o'clock last night, and I did find some BLM, but the only road I could find to get off like the main paved road was a power line road. So it's kind of a crappy spot. We're just parked right in the middle of the road. There's a power line right outside, but it served the purpose. I popped up the tent. You know, we crashed out for the night. Just going to start kind of packing up my gear inside the tent here, and we're just going to hit the road. We only got a couple, 3 more hours left to go. All right, so we're coming into Bryce Canyon National Park now. We're not actually going to go into the park. I'm going to drive past the park and head to Tropic Reservoir is where I'm going to plan, and then I'm going to check that out, and hopefully I can find a place to camp around that. That might just be a pipe dream that I can find a place to camp around there. But if not, there's tons of public land and national forest all around the park. So if we can't find something at the reservoir, then we'll just cruise off into some public land and see what we find. All right, so we're just going around exploring a little bit. We're up in the mountains. I did go to that reservoir and I did find a place that I could have camped, but there was a couple things about it that just wasn't sitting right with me. It was really windy in the spot that I found that I could camp, and B, there was a lot of people driving in and out of there all the time wanting to know if that spot was open because you couldn't really see it from the main road. So I didn't like that either. Plus, it just wasn't what I was really coming to Utah for. So I decided that we rested there for a little bit, and then we went ahead and just hopped in the truck. I've got Backcountry Navigator. Before I even came or left the house, I downloaded a huge tract of this national forest and BLM around Bryce Canyon National Park so that I would have it all on my phone. But I'm looking for somewhere to camp tonight, and what I'm looking for is something that's a little bit more Utah. I mean, right now I'm in some national forest, and it's really nice, but I can camp in national forest at home. What I'm looking for, like I said, is something that just screams Utah a little bit more than what I would see at home. All right, so I think I found a place where I'm going to camp. This has got some amazing views, and I had to kind of crawl up some little Jeep trail to kind of get up here. It's pretty narrow, so I don't really foresee a lot of people being up in here, but there is just some absolutely gorgeous rock formations up here. Definitely something a little bit more Utah, which is what I was after. So I think I've got I've already done a little scout around, and I think I've got some real good opportunities, not only for a sunset photo tonight, but also a sunrise photo in the morning. So anyhow, I'm gonna do some work here to get the trailer leveled up and get it set up, and then we're gonna hang out for the evening. All right, so I'm just getting my camera bag insert all filled. I'm not gonna worry about taking my whole backpack or anything just because we're gonna go walk out here just 100 yards or so. But I do wanna make sure, obviously I have my camera, but I want also my filters and everything. So that's why I'm gonna go ahead and take the whole pack. But we're just gonna, like I said, we're just gonna walk out here about 100 yards out onto this cliff face, see if we can't get a nice sunset shot of the rock formations and everything along the face. All right, guys, so I apologize for this. I'm sure there's just a ton of wind. It's really windy out here, but we got the camera set up right here, and we're overlooking some really nice rock formation here. And so I didn't want to use too many filters because it is really windy, so I am using my polarizer because we've got the sun side lighting these rocks, and I'm just trying to cut a little bit of a haze that's in the sky. So I'm trying to do that. But I'm just trying to bring out a little bit more color in these rocks. But they are being lit really nicely right now by the sun, being side lit with some nice shadows and everything. So there should be some nice contrast. But like I said, I didn't want to put any other filters on because I could possibly get away with using my graduated filter a little bit as well, just to kind of a little bit of the light. But as it is, because it is a completely blue sky day, there's not really any interest in the sky, so I'm pretty much trying to frame the rocks in as much as possible. But I'm 1/80th of a second, which I'm a little bit concerned about because that's just a little bit slow and the camera's just being blown around just a little bit, so I am trying to time my shots between guests. And then I'm also at f6.3 because, again, I'm trying to not let my shutter speed drop too low, but I also want to try to stay around ISO 100. I don't want it to bring my ISO up, so trying to keep the shutter speed up a little bit to handle a little bit of the vibration of the camera from the wind. So yeah, normally I'd probably shoot this at f11 if it was a calm day, but right now we got a little bit calm, so we're gonna fire off the shot. The camera's in silent mode just so I can also eliminate any extra shake there, but it looks like we got the shot, and yeah, looks good. Well, it's another beautiful morning in Utah, and I've just kind of been sitting here and enjoying some coffee and watching the sunrise a little bit. I didn't go out and shoot a landscape photo like I kind of thought I would, just because the way this area is, the sun doesn't hit the rocks until it gets pretty high in the sky, so all the cool rock formations were in shadow. So this is definitely more of a sunset location, which I think I got some shots yesterday which you guys have already seen, that I'm hoping turned out pretty good. But for the most part this morning, I think I'm just going to kind of relax. You know, yesterday was just kind of get up and run, so this morning I want to just sit in my hammock, drink some coffee, and enjoy the rest of this sunrise. But there will be a lot more videos to come from Utah. I'm gonna, I'll be here for a week, so once I kind of get my bearings a little bit more, I'll spend a little bit more time running around, get my bearings, figure out some cool locations, and we'll do some more videos for you guys. So definitely look forward to that. But for now, I'm gonna let you guys go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. Your comments and questions are always good, and I'll catch you guys again outside.